I've been like all day, it's like Christmas because I've just been so excited about being able to talk with with Fiona and myself and our
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, Fiona. Nice to meet
Yay. Anyway, it's been like Christmas. We're so delighted that you felt the frequency of Legacy of Loud and our vibe and what we're doing and felt kind of called to come and meet with us because we know you're a busy person who's doing all kinds of fabulous work in the world. So as a proper introduction, Biet Simkin is a contemporary artist and best-selling author and founder of Guided by Biet, which I follow on Instagram and I love it. I live for it. Also known as the David Bowie of meditation, which I love. And I was sitting today thinking like, what is she like? Like spiritual teacher isn't cutting it. I was like, she's a spiritual assassin. It's like a spiritual like sniper. That's what I was thinking in my head. I was getting down.
Love that. Yeah, I'm like the Dennis Hopper of spiritual.
Totally.
You don't know if I'm going to spiritually teach you or shoot you. It's, it's toss up.
Yeah, I was like, this is not fucking playing. Like,
I'm going to take you out back. We'll just see what happens.
Also a musician and artist, and I love the words you used in some of your language, which is a global transformation ecosystem, which is fucking cool as shit. Guess we kind of need that, maybe. Okay, Fiona, so we've been examining your work and talking about what topics, and we just want to jump right into it because I always think when I'm listening to a podcast, when they talk forever about like, what did I eat for lunch? I'm always annoyed and bored. So, your hot takes they feel very fresh in the world of spirituality and recovery and transformation and money and being a person. I've been, reading a lot, doing a lot in all kinds of recovery and spiritual modalities for a long time. And I'm finding your message really fresh and really interesting.
We want to hear about capacity and what you talk about in that, if you want to start off talking about that.
Tell me more. What do you mean by...
I know you're talking about this capacity and like how it works with your work and how each person has enough capacity, but I want like more clarity on like what that means.
And can I just jump in with a little context? Fiona is 20 years old and a college student. I am 53 and like a Gen X mom living in Brooklyn. Fiona is a college student, born and raised New Yorker, like you, I believe. So we can talk about being city kids, which I wasn't, but I moved here when I was 19. But what I'm trying to say is that we are both trying to figure out our lives. And we're both hyper curious women. And I feel that kindred spirit with the work that you do and your very non-linear way of getting to where you got in life. And I think it's so beneficial for a 20-year-old and her friends and the community we're building intergenerationally between people my age and people's Fiona's age about your journey. So, yeah. And then, so one of those things is this concept of capacity. And Fiona and I were talking about it and I was like, she talks about capacity a lot, capacity and something about being able to hold a lot and then you can rise. But if you can't hold a lot, you can't rise, you can't get bigger, you can't accept more. So I'm not articulating that as well as you do. You do it so beautifully. Can you talk about that?
It's just about desire, I guess. It's less about what someone can hold, because we're all capable of holding infinite amounts. It's about our desire to destroy and reject what we actually love. We want to destroy beauty. We want to destroy ease. We want to destroy things. We came to believe through our life that we're safer doing that. I know it sounds counterintuitive. And the weird thing is that I think as an artist, I was taught that constructive acts were dangerous for the creativity inside us, right? And so it's like, how do you tell? When I would see a girl running, I went to school in New York City, when I would see a girl running down the street, like me and my friends would like sneer at people who were like jogging. We just thought that was so what are you doing with your life? You're jogging? I had so many judgments. Today, of course, like I love exercise, but as a kid, I just thought, what a fucking waste of time. Like, we're here to shake shit up, to break things, not to be some perfect. It's kind of like in Fight Club, you know, when he says, like, oh man, self-improvement, what a waste of fucking time, when you could just go to a basement and beat the shit out of someone and have your life sorted out, right? So it's that, when you ask about the container, it's like, how do you beat the shit out of life while at the same time cherishing life? How do you do both of those at the same time?
Yeah, I feel like I totally get what you're saying about the girl running down the street, because I went to an art school in New York City, so everyone was like, fuck the normal like way of doing things. But I find that very harmful, honestly, because I feel like if you're saying you're out of this world and you're eccentric, then why can't their version of eccentric be like running 5 miles before school at 17? Like, what's wrong with that? You know, I mean, if there could be a way to be doing that wrong, but you know what I mean?
Yeah, it seems like you tune into the glory of not judging the shit out of people as a means of survival. But right,
Yeah, because the whole like artistic kid thing is, oh, everyone judges us and like we're different, but you're just the same if you're judging them.
mm-hmm. Yeah, it's true.
So what is that? I'm sitting here on Destroy Beauty. I'm just like looping on Destroy Beauty and Destroy Life. I had a friend, guy friend. He said his 3 children died in a fire, and a horror show, just a total horror show. And after that, you know, in our friendship, my Fiona was really little, but he would say, let them destroy you, my children, you know, Fiona and then her brother Liam, but just let it just fucking kill you. This is a man who lost 3 of his children, young children, in a fire. And I always loop on that as a concept. And for whatever reason, my ADHD brain is connecting it to what you just said, which is like, what the fuck are we doing if we're not just going hard and leaving it all out there? Does that kind of hit a little bit? I saw today you said on Instagram something about wake up. There's a lot of ways to sleep. You know, there's so many ways to sleep, and waking up feels like the last choice anyone, I know for me, it's, I have to be totally mangled in order to want to wake up to something that is more real. I want to talk to you about money and self-worth. And you said recently, I listened to you talk to Dr. Sarah Zoll, who is super cool, and I like her. And I'm like, I want to be a podcaster like her. And
So you are.
so I am. Yeah, but she has just such an elegant way of talking. But my question is, you mentioned that you're working with somebody who has this idea that she wants to make $40 million. And my ears like perked up because I thought, cool. Like, I get that, like, you can make lots of money and serve God. Like, those are fine together. But I think my own limitations get jammed up when I start putting a number on it. Like, I want it to be this amount, or I want it to, like, I feel like it's like when I wanted to be really skinny. Like, when I get to that weight, everything's going to be great. Or when I get to that number, everything's going to be great. Or once I meet the guy, everything's going to be great. I mean, and all that's fucking bullshit, right? Like, it's never the thing once we get the thing. So my question is money. You know, because I think in a lot of your teaching, it's, you can make money. We can make money, and money is a construct. Can you talk about that? About, especially for Fiona, like, I'm thinking for her age, what culturally is a way to think about money that's interesting for these kids and for the culture?
Well, it's just real clarity. You know, it's not about, when I get to 40 million, I will feel different, or I will be something that I'm not, or I'll be better than you, or I'll be free from suffering. None of those things are true, but clarity and spreadsheets and aims that are clear are helpful to what I call God, right? God is half of me. So it would be like if half of me is this amalgamous, perfect, shining light that's made out of love and can fulfill every wish, and through which all grace is created, all beautiful records, all money is made, all companies are started, falling in love happens, making babies, anything you want to acquire on earth comes from that part of me, the 50% of me that's just light and love. But the other 50% of me is, as you know, because you're a human being here with me, an asshole, and has flaws, and is, has ugliness and has feelings and moods, and it's just what the fuck, right? So what we want to take is we want to take the 50% of ourselves that is that mold of clay, right, of this like moody son of a bitch, and then we want to mold it. We want to mold it, and that looks like things that I never thought would be involved, such as spreadsheets and clarity and removal of vagueness. And that is true love to me with money, is I do need to have a number, and I need to have a why. It can't just be a number for a number's sake because my ego likes 40 million as a number. My ego is not who I'm serving. I'm serving a vision that has a deep yearning inside it. That yearning could be around acquisitions, assets, real estate purchases, trips around the world, connections with friends, creative endeavors. Like, how much does it cost to make a film? If you want to make a film, you're going to need that amount of money. So you need to know how much it costs to make a film. If you want to make an art installation, how much does it cost? How much are the materials? Who needs to be involved? You need the details. Otherwise, God, which is this effervescent light part of you, cannot fulfill the task.
I'm stuck on this 50% God, 50% asshole thing. Is there like room 20% sister? Or is this like a different kind of metaphor? Do you think that, you know what I mean? Like 20% I'm a sister, or I'm an artist, or I like to go running, or is it God asshole?
Oh no, I'm not saying that the 50%
Yeah.
of the asshole is full asshole. It's how you do anything. Like, how do you wake up and drink a cup of coffee, or you like have to exit, you have to use your legs, right? So I guess I'm being a little hard on the little body, that we are embodied in, right? But I do find that its design, I don't know, Fiona, if you've verified this, but I have found that the design of my body and mind is just to fuck with me. Like, that's its programming. And so I have created a life where I put my body and mind in its place to serve the part of me that I call the light. And as a servant of that light, it's masterful. Does it mean that it operates perfectly at all times? No, but it does operate well enough. If we can get it to 80%, that's a good number on Earth, right? Most people are not operating at good numbers.
I feel like a part of the thing of your mind is designed to work against you is a skill you can hone to be like in your favor. I feel like when I feel shame or anxiety and I look where that's coming from and I know, then I'm like all the more powerful. Oh, I'm shame like this is such a like simple example. I'm shameful because my roommates are mad at me because I didn't clean the dishes. Oh, maybe I'm feel like I'm an asshole because I didn't clean the dishes. You know what I mean? But like on a grander scale, learning to use that part of your mind that works against you for you is the best way for me to like work around that.
Yeah, no, you're basically describing the practice, right? To love reality is pure wizardry.
Yeah, 100%.
Yes. A practice I picked up this year because I felt like a beautiful life that I'm deeply grateful for, wonderful children, healthy children, all kinds of abundance, a healthy body, myself, good paying work, money in the bank, a lovely home, all the things. But there's the yearning and like desire. And I had a really fucked up relationship with desire. I thought wanting things was just like bad. And we needed to be wantless. Like there was like this very kind of patriarchal spiritual, like just be like you get what you get and you don't get upset. Just be super grateful. And if you're not grateful, then they might take it away. So just hold on to what you have and be really grateful. And there are some, circles that I can kind of run in sometimes where I'm like, I don't think I feel safe talking about my yearning and my desire for more because I feel like I'm going to be told, just, Tara, what the fuck are you talking about? You have such a good, shut up, shut up. you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a fine line, and it really is. Wait, you say one more thing. Like, what if you could ask anything, and if I was a wizard, and you wanted to never feel that way again? What would be your wish? Like, what is it that you want to have happen with that circling? If you could have anything happen,
it's like the permission to want to go from 80% to 100, and that's entirely acceptable to want that. It's not like I'm just some sort of like A type, like, oh, I'm trying to be a fucking winner. I mean, I kind of am, but it's more like, God, like life is just has a lot to offer. And there's this higher power that's like got all this power. Like, why not fuck with it and see what it can do? Why not? Right? Like, it's an experiment. That's how I feel, you know? And it's sometimes I feel like I need that, I need permission to be like, yeah, it's morally okay, morally okay to want more, even if you are blessed.
Yeah. I think it's kind of like you were saying before with the body, like the weight loss stuff. Like I
Mm-hmm.
feel like for years I wanted to lose weight. And the way that I felt about my body was I beat myself up and then I would lose the weight and then I would gain it back through eating too much food, right? So it was like too much food, not enough food, whatever, back and forth. And the pain and cycle ended when I decided that I loved myself. It wasn't like I decided I loved myself and so I eat 3 bowls of mac and cheese back to back as a way to prove how much I love myself and how free I am. That boundaries are loving. And same thing with this. Like, if I really love myself, then I can believe that I am destined to accomplish that full 100%. I just have to let go of doing it as a way of proving anything or beating myself up. If I'm doing it because I think, oh, well, once I win the Oscar, then I'll be free from all this suffering. It's like, that has yet to happen. That is not the cocktail. You got to figure that part out on the front end. And then also the weird thing is I found that out on the front end. Like I figured out how to be in a state of bliss here and now, not at 100%. I don't know, like 100% because there's never any 100% because you're always expanding, but whatever I'm at, right? I'm at 80, 70%. Like my life is fucking nuts. It's very impressive by all accounts. But there's still more to grow, right? And I figured out how to be in bliss today. Like, well, not, if you changed nothing, I know how to get into a bliss state. And when that first really started happening as a recovered embodiment over and over and over, I was like, why would I do anything? Why would I make more money? Why would I accomplish this next record? Why would I literally do anything when I'm already in an enlightened state? And that's when I had to really hit the chrysalis of I'm not doing this to change my state today. I'm doing it because I have a calling within me to, like what you just said, I want to do X, Y. I want to make that amount of money. I want to impact those amount of people. I want to have this, that, and the other thing, not because I want to change my state, but because it is my God-given right that I've been imbued with something that is not mine.
Hmm. Have you guys watched the Jillian Michaels debate? Do you know what I'm talking about?
No.
So there was this, what you said basically is what I think would have been a better debate. Basically, Jillian Michaels is this woman. She's super maha. She had this show in the early 2000s that was called The Biggest Loser, and it was a weight loss show. And so she is very anti like big pharma and like big food and all this stuff. So she had a debate with 20 body positivity people, and it was a really hard watch, and it kind of blew up on TikTok because she won the debate. Her arguments were more cutting than theirs, even though like I do not agree with most of what she said. Like even me, she totally won the debate. And all these body positivity influencers, they were telling their personal stories and how they felt negatively about how people had treated them in their bodies. And I think that what they were trying to hit is what you just said, was that body positivity is not about being that if you're obese, you're not healthy. Like that's not really what we were talking about. It's about that you're waking up today and you're living in joy, and your body can't take away from that. That's what body positivity is. It's not fighting health or like other health things. But it was a very, very interesting watch because she really just like slayed them. It made me think about like all these MAGA people and how, if I didn't have stronger like moral stances, I totally would have listened to that thing and been like, she's totally right. Like, what are these girls saying? You know? But it was very interesting. I encourage you guys to watch it.
But what was your takeaway in the end? Did you feel like it's true that we want a both and?
I think that it depends on person to person for sure. Like, it's hard to debate about a movement because a movement can mean something different to everyone. I think that my version of body positivity is not both and, but there's some people that the positivity movement has reached that the message has been that. So I think that centralizing the movement and having it focused on loving your body and health will be like the best way for it to move forward. But I don't think that the people in the debate could like really articulate it, because if this woman's yelling at you and she's like, you're fat, it's your fault, and you don't deserve any excuses. So you're like, wait, but like, no, like my mom, and like I'm trying to go back to like the whole story, and she was just like, I don't care. And so it was like a hard watch in that way, because they were really trying to appeal to her emotions, but she didn't care. She was just coming in with facts and like statistics that they didn't like know about.
So even though you don't, she won the debate, but you don't agree with her.
Well, she didn't like on paper win the debate, but watching it, she ate them up. But I don't agree with what a lot of what she was saying. I don't think it's that black and white. I don't think that white cycling is healthy. I don't think
What's
that
white cycling fee?
like getting larger and smaller, like it's bad for your body, it's bad for your heart, it's bad for all the things. But I think that if you look at it in a black and white way, nothing's gonna change. So adding that perspective of health and statistics and whatever, and then adding in the body's, that's where we need to be, like with both of it in there. And they were separate, and I feel like if they combined, there could have been a better message.
Can we talk about God a little bit? Because you talk about God, and I like to use the word God. And I've been working, living in New York City for 35 years and I work in advertising. It's like very, very secular. It's very ironic. It's very about aesthetics and, irony and like cool and it's very, I think it's changing, but it's like not into cringe and sincerity. And I just feel like I have been in a 20-year haze of like trying to never do anything embarrassing or be caught out there thinking something's cool that's not cool. I mean, this is nuts, right? Like I'm over 50 years old. And I work with a lot of people that are just like, I just can't, if I say the word God in any context around them, they're just like, they think I'm a Christian fundamentalist or an evangelical or something. And I think, first of all, I think God's coming back. I think people are going to start, I swear to God, I think people went so far away from anything that felt holy and holding and, the third spaces and all that stuff that like people are starting to crave it because of the world feels so fucked. But like, how
I
do
think that's really true with people my age too, that it's like
Yeah.
coming back for like young people. Which is like a weird, you know what I mean?
So someone like you, yeah, like you're talking about God in like this way that I think is really hot and like sexy and interesting. And what do you make of that? Like, I don't know, like, how do you explain to somebody? I guess it's like sort of like being pregnant or doing anything. It's like hard to explain to people like that my life was saved and that I shouldn't be here and that there was a power greater than myself that I kind of begged to and worked with. And it, I felt like I was pulled out of the scrap heap and into this, other kind of life. And if someone doesn't have that experience, like it's really hard to talk about. And sometimes I don't even know what I'm talking about if I can't talk about it.
Yeah, I mean, that's why it's so cool that you work in advertising, right? Because it's like if God's going to make a comeback, God needs a good team, because
Needs some
he
PR.
offers everything. And it's so important that God gets a better rap because God is extremely practical. And, it's what my father, who was, an awakened mystic, explained to me early on. He said, people ask me, but how do I know? Or how can I prove that there is a God? And he was like, I cannot prove this, but I love God. And as I love God, my life becomes better. And he's like, that's a fact. That's a practical fact you can count on. You can say, it was like this, and now it's like this, right? And so everyone's looking for results. And so I've always seen God as a practical matter. If you approach it from that lens and you actually take the actions, right? Like we learned in the work that we come from, we learned that you just show up and you pray. You don't have to, it doesn't have to make sense. You don't have to understand it. Just fucking shut the fuck up and do it. And that's what I did. And I think also like I need an anarchistic God. I can't have a God that hates certain people or is like anti, homosexuality or decides for others what is right and wrong. That's not the kind of God I can get behind. I can get behind a God that I have a personal relationship with, that I create the mythology around, and that is based on love, sovereignty, kindness, and principles of unity, not principles that divide us. And I think
Mm.
that's the God that made everybody upset anyway, right? Like, why do we have all these problems with the word God? It's because who wants a God that's going around being like, you're going to hell if you do that?
How would you explain having a personal relationship with God or like showing up for it in a practical way for someone who has like never been exposed to God? Because I feel like for people kind of like me, I mean, I have some exposure to spirituality, but like I don't have a faith tradition I grew up with. Hearing that word, like have a personal, I don't even know what that means. So how would you explain it?
I would explain it through art, which is why I make experiences. I
Mm,
create experiences with people where people are the medium. I incorporate music, which I believe is the sound of God in many instances. And I show people, I don't tell them. I show them a feeling and a state that they cannot unsee. And people
Mm.
have come, 50, I've done events with thousands of people, with hundreds of people. Doesn't matter what the size of the audience. Always about 50% of the audience starts to weep during the experience. And weeping is a signal. We are made of signal, we are made of sound. And so when you can get people into a state by using art, which is the closest thing I've ever found to a language that speaks straight to the heart, to all people. And then you decide for yourself. Everyone is a free being. No one can force someone to get it or not get it. You just give them the state, and then that sets the ball rolling right there. You also, like, I did an event at the Museum of Modern Art once, right? And I had everyone do a very specific device inside my work, right? And this one woman left. She had done my experience. It's scored by my music. And then she walks out into Midtown, which in that area. It's like I don't know, it's just Midtown for me is like hell. But you get out there and it's like all these people in suits, it's overcrowded, everyone's kind of unhappy. And this guy comes up to her and she looks him dead in the eye and just starts gazing with him because of the experience she just had inside of my event. And he says to her, "I've been waiting for you." This dude in a suit in Midtown. And she's like, "What do you mean?" And she's thinking this is going to get fucking weird. This is New York City, it's like filled with
yeah.
freaks. And so she's like, "What do you mean?" And he's like, "I've been waiting all day for you." And she's like, okay, what?" And he's like, "I've decided that I want to end my life. And I was going to end it. I don't see a reason to live. I think this place is just filled with emptiness and no love. And I'm going to wait and see if anyone is real. I'm just going to stand here in Midtown and see if anyone actually makes contact or does something that's human other than just walks past me." And you stopped and you stared into my eyes for a minute. And he's like, "And now I remember why I'm here. I remember why I get to do this one more day, one 24-hour period of just going for it, for life." And he's like, "And I want to repay that. I want to take care of you. I want to do something nice for you to thank you for saving my life." And she's like, "Oh, well, no problem. I don't need anything." And he's like, "No, no, no, I want to do something." He's like, "I have so much money. What can I do? Like, do you have any debts I can repay? I'll repay your debts." And she's like, "What? Oh, like, what are you talking about?" And he's
What
like,
is happening?
and she's like, "No, no, no, it's okay." And he's like, "Look, here, take my number." Like, they exchange numbers. She's like, "Okay, bye bye." She's just trying to get away from this freakazoid because she thinks he's totally full of shit. And he texts her like, this is like 8 years ago. He texts her later. And he's like, "What is keeping you from your miracle?" And she's like, "What do you want from me?" He's like, "Just send me your bank details. I'll totally take care of your debt." And she's like, "You know what? I have nothing to lose." So she fucking connects him to her, accountant, whatever. He wipes out her student debt, like pays off 100K in student debt right there. Okay, so that's an example of the unexplainable, awestruck shock that occurs when somehow, by the grace of God, you come into a moment of art. And I know we've all had that. We've all seen a film or heard a record which saved our life. And that is what I'm here for.
I'm like sitting here the whole time and like I never would have stopped. And I'm like too cynical of a New Yorker, but that's a crazy story.
Wow. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. What kind of experience had she just been in? What can you tell us a little bit about? I haven't been to one of your experiences. I've been to the source once. I cannot wait to go back.
Yes, we
Um, can,
have you back.
can you tell us a little bit about the art and it's human art?
Well, okay, so I don't know if how much you guys have tried of transformational work or personal development work, meditation, maybe transcendental meditation,
I did
somatic
TM. Yeah,
exercises.
TM, some breath work. Fiona had a really bad phobia a couple years ago, and so got into some breath work and
Yeah.
meditation. Really bad flying, trains, tunnels of any form, like really bad. And so got into breath work and some meditation. I've been dabbling in and out, ADD style of all these different kinds of. I did TM with David Lynch. I did Vedic. I did you name it, you name it. And then a lot of somatic, EMDR, breath, that kind of stuff. So,
Yes.
and when I was 12, I had a Kundalini awakening with my mother at a Siddha Yoga ashram in upstate New York. So I was introduced to a lot of those. When you talk about your dad, first of all, my mom was not in the picture. She was just around in the summers in this ashram where I would visit her. But when you talk about your dad, like there's something about having a parent that's like that spiritually, all the way there. It's great, but it can also just be like, dude, some shit needs to happen here. You know what I mean? Like I like a term on the path would be like it's a bridge back to life. Like some people just stay on the bridge and they like can't raise children. They can't do spreadsheets and things like that, So that was my mom.
That was my dad.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right? It's like cool, but I think I got like so hooked on being such an execution queen to prove that shit could actually happen in 3D real life, as a rebellion to all the spiritual stuff. But yet here I am, and all I want to do is talk about spiritual stuff. Anyway, this all came about because I was asking you about your experiences. Can you just talk a little bit about what you've created?
Yeah, so I think many people have experienced something akin to what you're describing, not necessarily having a mother that is that deeply embedded inside the truth, but we've touched truth and people have felt truth and they've done it through different modalities. So I have studied those modalities my whole life as a daughter of an awakened mystic. And what I found was that I needed a marriage between the world of contemporary art, a world of money, commerce, desire, lust, sexy, fashion, PR, strategy, smart. Like, I love all that. And I love the awakened state. So I married them and I created events that occur inside of institutions like the Museum of Modern Art, Sundance Film Festival, So why? Because I felt like if I need to put on a robe and take you to Costa Rica and put drugs in your body to get you to have this effect, then it wasn't what I came here to do anyway. I want it to be at a country, record concert. I want it to be inside of an art installation at the Guggenheim. Like that's how I want it. And everybody wants it different, but here's the beautiful thing. I've got my people. Like we all play a note and we radio out to our people. And it's not about quantity of people, it's about the specific note being honest. If your note is really you will reach your people. And you said this earlier. You said, is it wrong to want more? And I'm going to say, no, it's not wrong to want more. It's right to admit who you are. You already are that thing. You can't want something that's in front of you because time doesn't exist. And if I put acid in your water right now, you would remember that instantly. But the truth is that just spending time with me with no acid solves that problem. That is what I do. I change people's entire reality through the way that I see the world.
I'm impressed with what a lot of you said, but I feel like you talking about how you knew these were the two things you have to marry. Like, how do you get to knowing that those are the two things that you needed to do?
Love. You just look at the things that you love most, and then you also want to look at what are you hiding. Like I looked at what I was full of shit about, and I gave those things up. I gave up things that I knew were false personality. And when you give away false, like a lot of what we do inside the source is giving up false personality. When you let go of all that is false in you, all that's left is what is true. And unfortunately, that's not the end of the line. Then you do have to marry them. And usually they are opposing forces that have nothing to do with one another. Like, how am I going to marry this infinite light, Care Bear, I love everybody and I don't judge anybody, with this psychotic, judgy bitch who wants to go shopping on the Upper East Side? How do I marry those two people? You know?
So real. So real.
Wow. Yes. Yes. Like
Percent.
this feels like contemporary. I told you, spiritual assassin, cutting edge fucking God. God, I want to call it like God on point. You know what I mean? Like on fucking point. I'm into it. I have so many, my brain is like vibrating on so many different things. Feel like I want to talk about dating and romance around this. Fiona has a boyfriend. I wish you could see her beautiful face. You can't even see it. Like,
I mean, I've seen photos. I see her puffy lips. Where did you get those lips? You're so pretty. I saw photos of you. I was like, oh my God. And it's just so cool because I'm a mom too. So when I saw photos of you, like my oldest girl, I've had 3 daughters and one of them passed away, but 2 of them are alive today. And oh my God, she's 7. And when I saw your photos, Fiona, I was like, oh my God, like Cash is gonna be beautiful like that one day. Like it's just,
Oh, that's so nice.
that's so cool.
it's fucking, it is magic. It is magic. The puppy lips, I think it's my mom, I think.
Your mom is why she's so beautiful?
No, the lips.
The
The
lips.
lips.
My
Yeah.
Lord.
I think it's also my excessive use of lip liner and constantly mewing everywhere.
No, you can tell there's nothing unreal about those lips. Like that is what everyone's trying to do badly. It's like don't
Remember
do.
when I got injections in my lips.
Oh my God. She got lip injections when I was like 15 and I came home from school and I was like, you're insane. You're literally insane. And I made her go back to the doctor the next day and take
I
them out.
tried to
I was
be
like,
casual
no.
and not mention it. I was like, they're not going to notice. 'Cause I had like an aging meltdown, and I called my friend who gets like a lot of stuff, and I was like, who, tell me who to call. I'm going there right now to the Upper East Side. And I went to this woman, Hazel, this nurse, and she just was like, do you want to look like Angelina Jolie? And I was just like, yes, I do. She just, sure. And so she put it in, and I thought I would just be like chill, low key, downplay master and not mention
No.
it to the kids.
Literally, she walks in like,
She was so disappointed.
well, I think it's just the thing about your mom. It's like your mom, and I look like her too. So then she's gonna go alter her face. You're just like, what? That's not the deal, bro. Chill. But she can also do whatever she wants. I don't care.
Well, how old were you at the time when she
I was
did?
like 15, so I feel like I was betrayed. But now I feel like I would care less, but I don't know.
Well, it's interesting. There's a betrayal out there with mothers and daughters around. When I hit menopause, I gained like 15, 20 pounds and I felt really uncomfortable. And I took GLPs and
I was
like
again pissed.
horrified. It was the same thing. It was just like such a
Maybe
betrayal.
it's a pattern. Maybe I'm the problem.
No, I think this is, no, I think it's because it's like moms are like, I love you no matter what, and then you want it to you want them I think you want your mom to love herself no matter what too.
Yeah.
Like you want that to really be true.
Yeah.
And so if the mom is doing stuff to alter their appearance because they don't feel good in their body, then the kids, it's like a house of mirrors, and then all of a sudden it's like, wait, maybe she's full of shit, and so it's been an interesting thing. Like we've been talking about it, Fiona and I, like I had a raging eating disorder throughout the 90s. I mean, beyond out of control. So for me, like once I start dieting or doing anything to be consciously smaller and like not eat carbs or not eat once I start not doing that, I immediately start doing it excessively. The minute I think about not doing a thing, I start to do it. And so it's just like a crazy thing that I don't think like your regular person who just likes some snacks goes through. I don't think I'm normal in that way, which is, does that make
There's no
sense?
normal.
Right.
No, there's normal, and I'm not. There is normal. There's people who can
Okay.
snack. I'm like the opposite end of the spectrum. Like I'm the opposite. Like if I try to eat normally, if I don't monitor and keep like this is what I eat, these are the agreements I have, it's shits to the wind so fast. It's like
Mm.
woo! Like, oops, I didn't mean to eat all of that. My permissiveness, if I, like you just said, your restrictiveness is dangerous. For me, my permissiveness is, it's a disaster waiting to happen. Like, it's
Right.
not funny. Like, it will end up in me in a state of deep depression first, and then maybe in a mental institution. So, like, thank God I
Right.
know how to take care of myself, but it took
And
years.
your daughters are young, right? So they haven't dealt you haven't dealt with this dynamic.
No, I have quite the opposite. My 7-year-old said to me the other day, she was just like, because she watches like K-pop Demon Hunters, so she was like, "Will you get a boob job, Mom?" I'm like, "What do you mean?" She's like, "Well, I
Like
just
K-pop, that's what that content is in that movie?
no." She just sees
They
those
just have like
bodies, with the giant boobs and the skinny bodies and the long legs, and she's like, "I want my mom to look like that." And then we live in Orange County, so like all the women have fake boobs, and so she
mm,
looks around and sees all the moms with these giant boobies, and she's like, I want my mom to have the nice giant boobies too. So she was like petitioning for me to go get a boob job. She's like, well, your boobs are kind of like small, and like, I don't know, you should go get a. I was like, what the hell?
that's so crazy. Were you like, oh no, like all these women are like, are you like, she's gonna turn out fine, like who cares?
It's more just laughing. I know
Yeah,
she's gonna have her journey. I can't
totally.
protect her from her journey. She's gonna go through her. She's a woman on the planet, like, welcome.
Totally.
Yeah.
And you're a
Well,
city kid. I feel like growing up in LA, Orange County area, Brooklyn, New York, Manhattan area, it's a very specific beast. And I was exposed to everything and anything at like, just because you're like 12 and you're taking the train. So you just like literally see it with your own eyes. And it's not like your parents are doing it or anything. But I feel like going to college and being around kids who didn't grow up in that, it is such a stark difference. Not in a good or bad way. It's just, oh, I went to the Met on the weekends. You know what I mean? I got to see that. And like, you got to have like a close high school graduating class and all know each other and like know your parents' friends. I mean, and your friends' parents. And like, it was a close community. So there's pros and cons. But I feel like it's such a specific beast with like, all, like the Orange County boobs, the homeless people on the train. It's such a funny thing to grow up with that you don't realize until you get older and then you're like, oh, that wasn't normal.
I don't know anything else. I'm a city
Yeah.
kid like you, Fiona. So
Yeah.
just I wouldn't trade it for the world. I'm so
No.
grateful. I think if anything, me and my husband wonder whether we're doing them a disservice by this giving them this weird like whitewashed Mayberry experience, but we're like rolling with it for now. But we basically talk about moving to a big city like once a week.
Yeah.
right.
We're like,
Yeah.
maybe we're not in the right place. Maybe we're not in the right place. But we're like, we golf cart to school. Our life is, but then we golf cart to the beach from school. And then, it's like
Oh
our life
my
is so
God.
amazing. Yeah.
That's so dreamy. So, wait, can we talk about your husband? I feel like what I've picked up is that you guys have a pretty rad relationship and like do cool shit together. Feels very aspirational. Can you just talk about your experience dating and finding someone that you wanted to actually be with and have children with and what that process was like as this person that you are in the world?
I mean, I had to give up dating the wrong people, which for me was like I loved difficulty. Like I would find the wrong man and then I would make him my boyfriend and then I'd be surprised when it didn't work out. Surprised. And so when I had an awakening at the age of 29 where I learned many things about how to be a woman, who wasn't like destroying everything and who actually admitted what she wanted. And again, similar to money and similar to fame and similar to everything that I have accomplished in this life, I feel like with men, it was like, oh, I have to stop objectifying them. Like I had to give up stuff that I didn't want to give up. I wanted to be objectified. I had to give that up. I wanted to objectify them and talk about them like they were a piece of meat. I had to give that up. And what I did was I started treating men like 6-year-olds, specifically the men that I found most attractive. I started treating them like I would treat a 6-year-old child. So that's to say, I didn't flirt with them. I didn't try to have sex with them. I didn't try to get them to want to have sex with me. I just looked at them as like a child of God, let's say, right? Like an innocent boy. And then I would get to know them. And so I got to know my husband for 6 months, treating him like that. And it was hard because he's really hot. And so it was really hard to like pretend he wasn't hot. But that is what I did for like 6 months. I just pretended. And then, at the end of 6 months of doing that, we were friends for a year before we got together. The first 6 months I had a crush on him, or like for 2 months I had a crush. First 4 months I thought he was gay.
This is like, such good advice, Fiona. Like, I'm writing it down.
So I started. So for 2 months I had a crush on him, Fiona, and I don't know if this applies to you, if you can feel this, but I had a big crush on this guy, right? And it was so insane. Like, it made me crazy having a crush. You know, you feel like nuts. And so after 2 months, I was like, what if this is a bad strategy? What if I just like let this having a crush thing go and I act again like a child of God, right? So I started treating him like a 6-year-old. And for 6 months we were friends and we laughed together. It felt like we were like at a sleepover at the age of 8 for 6 months. Like every time I saw him, we laughed and had so much to talk about, but it wasn't ever like, but do you want to fuck me? Like there was none of that. And so at the end of 6 months of doing that, I was like, okay, I'm ready. I'm going to ask him to ask me out on a date. And by the way, I like
asked him that.
Important distinction.
Important distinction. Like I was like, I'm not going to be a man in this relationship. I'm going to tell you what I want. So I texted him and I said, I would love it if you asked me out on a date. And he, of course, like all men, said no.
And you didn't just die and crumble from rejection and like want to die?
I died and crumbled, and I went to the bathroom and I prayed and I said, God, what I call God, I'm not religious, please help me to see the truth here. And I remembered I had read a book and it said, when you tell a man what you really want, they're always going to say no first. Just watch.
Hey, why did he do that?
It's just their nature because they're competitive. And so I was like, okay. And so I went back out, all put together from that bathroom prayer. And he was like, do you want to walk to the train? And I was like, yes. And then he was like, do you want a coffee? And I was like, yes. And then he was like, do you want dinner? And I was like, yes. And it just went on and on. And then the next day he asked me out on a date and we've been together ever since.
Wow. We talked to someone else who was also saying to treat men like a baby thing. And I feel like, it's so true. It's a little bit demeaning towards men, you know what I mean?
No, it's not demeaning.
No, I'm just saying, like, the way it sounds, I'm not saying that you were demeaning him at all.
No, I was desexualizing him. To be clear, I wasn't treating him like a baby. I wasn't, like, mothering him. I was treating him like someone I wasn't trying to fuck.
Right.
That's all. Would you try to fuck a 6-year-old?
No.
No, that's all. I was taking the sex appeal out because I found that when you add, okay, do you remember when you turned 12 and all of a sudden it was like, like crush, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that 12-year-old feeling is the reason why most women stay single forever or can never find the right guy. If you need to suck that weird 12-year-old puberty weird shit out of your system to become a woman doesn't feel that way. A woman is like, I'm good. You can hang out with me if you want, bitch. Like, it's not like that, you know?
Yeah, totally. And it's like what your mom says when you're little, of like, don't be too easy. Like, not that she said this, but you know what I'm saying? But like, don't have sex with the guys on the first date, like all this stuff. It's just true. Like, it is. You know what I mean? It just confuses things. It's inappropriate. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, I don't know you. And like, you think that it's not true until you realize, oh, it's totally true.
Yeah.
This is really good. Could we talk about for a second your mom and grief and what you went through and how, I don't know. I mean, for me, I think there was like a opening of, you know, not having a certain amount, like not having love, basically, that I just was like running around looking, trying to find love. I don't know. Do you want to talk about that a little bit? Or I find your experience, I did the timeline of your story and, you know, you went through a lot and it's pretty cool where you've netted out and what how you're letting yourself be used on this planet and what's coming through you to help other people is really cool.
Well, you said it earlier. You talked about your friend who lost his children. I didn't lose three kids in a fire, but I lost my mom when I was 6, all my grandparents. It was just like funeral after funeral as a kid. And then when I got older, I was very depressed, and I had this enlightenment thing going, but I couldn't ground it. I couldn't ground the unicorn, and it was like having that level of connection with that light, effervescent state, but not being able to like make it make sense in reality is a very painful sensation. Anyway, I ended up losing my daughter to sudden infant death syndrome. My house burnt down, my best friend killed himself, and then my dad died of a heart attack. And that was all within 2 years. And that led to me getting sober. But why am I mentioning this? You said earlier that he said, just let it kill you. And I think that is what I walked away from with all of this. It's like, I want to live a life every single day that kills me. Like, I'm going to live all the way. I'm not going to dial it down because any minute the cancer could be coming, or like any minute the death of the child could be coming. And that's the instinct of the body and mind, like we talked about before, is to protect us, is to like keep us safe, keep us small, don't get hurt again. And when I live a life devoted to the light, I say, hurt me. It hurts to write records. It hurts to build businesses, to start podcasts, to have business meetings. And in my case, hundreds of business meetings. Many of them go very badly. It's just one disappointment after another. But you know what? Walt Disney had 300 no's. If the dream is real and the person is committed to it, my only suggestion is live as though it is definitely going to happen. Because you're never going to show up to 300 business meetings if you don't know that. If you're still thinking, well, maybe God just brought me here to humiliate me, are you going to show up? Or is the 5th or 6th business meeting going to break you? Because they're not fun. That afterwards feeling when you're like, that went really sideways.
Totally.
Wow. Why did I even bother meeting that person? Awkward. And it's like bullet dodged, bullet dodged, bullet dodged,
This is so great. I feel so filled up from everything that we've talked about, and I know everyone listening is going to feel that way. It reminds me of what someone told me to do, is just go out there and collect no's. Collect no's. Go ahead, say no.
Yeah.
And I think that's certainly where I'm at right now, which I feel is like a courageous place. And I think for this Gen Z kiddos that got fucked with COVID in the house, like, on screens and whatever, and did you read The Anxious Generation, that Jonathan Haidt book? And, I just keep thinking about like what happened to the kids, with the screens and COVID and all this stuff. And they're so anxious. They're not taking as many risks.
Yeah.
How does that affect you, Fiona? I mean, you're a kid, right? I'm 20.
Yeah.
That's a kid.
I'm 20. I'm definitely a kid. Firmly identify as a kid. I definitely feel like all of that shit fucked me up, and I think that I'm very grateful to have like emotional awareness. I had a thing with my boss where I was genuinely so scared to ask a question, just to ask a question. And I was like, that's totally because I didn't go to school for 2 years. I was just sitting in my bed. Like, it's just a very direct correlation. So I can see it play out, and I feel like I have the gift to like be able to see that that's why, and then kind of overcome it. But I think that people are really scared of the world, like just like what's outside their house, what's outside their door, like who they could run into. How am I going to do my phone's dead, I can't do the Apple Pay to get into the train. Like, I think all of that is the littlest things is stopping everyone from having community. And I think that there's a real lack of community with my age group, and that's a direct correlation of like all this stuff, because you can like live for days on your phone. You can talk to a friend, you can order a food, you can laugh, watch a funny show, you can cry, like you can do anything. And it's really scary because if you can, why not? Why not just live that life? And I think that it takes a lot of self-awareness and courage, which I'm sure so many people have my age, to like break that norm. And it's sad, but I also think that there's going to be a lot of, I think that it's turning around. And I think that like COVID was what? 6 years ago. Like, we're like fucking over it. Like, people want to be out. People want to hang out all the time, I feel like. And it's like coming back. And I think that we're like premature. Like, we don't have the skills, we don't have the language to do it, and we're learning it. And it might be like slower, but once it happens, it's like gonna happen and it's gonna be awesome. And I think that like all of us who are doing it right now are trying to make everyone else join. Like, it's colleges, campuses, I think, are drastically different. But I don't know. I don't know if that answers your question. I think that it's a weird time, but every generation had like a weird time. This was just our like version of it. And people
Mm.
are like really freaked out about it because it's like the technological aspect, I think, and how we've had like wars or things, but not technologically AI, people taking over, all that stuff. But I think we're all gonna be okay.
The AI thing is scary for these guys because it's, they're like, they're coming for the white collar jobs now, but it's all fear, right? It's like fear management.
Yeah. And then it's all about the EQ, like all about doing businesses and working with actual people. I literally would rather die than work a remote job. Like, I just can't do it. So I think that people are going to find new industries about like connections and experiences, and that's going to be awesome.
Which
Yeah.
is leads us back to Biet and these experiences.
Yeah, exactly.
That first experience, when you put it together, I'm working on creating an experience here in New York. And I had my first run through at my house, and 15 women came, and it was so fun. But it's me cobbling together basically like a 45-minute run through of a practice that I enjoy, that works for me. But it includes like dancing to music and pop and funny, and like it's like not like I'm not the person here. I'm doing these that can just sit cross-legged doing this all. It's just not, like you said, like I needed a God situation that was going to look like art, that was going to be at the Guggenheim. And so it's the same. Mine needs to feel like sexy and fun, and there has to be some badassery, and like I have to move my body, all that stuff. Anyway, so I did it. I had these women over, and we had a fucking blast, and it was great, and it was a vibe. And I took the risk of being so cringe, and I was like, "Hey guys, this is my practice. I want to do it with you." And like they did it. So when you first started doing these experiences, did you know you had something, or did you have a lot of doubt in your brain that was like, what the fuck am I doing? Or how did that come about?
No, I was pretty much doubt free at that point. I had such clarity, I think that for me, the doubt has always been around my music. That's where like my doubt likes to settle and sit. The
Yeah.
beliefs that I have around my music and the doubts there around the industry and the stories, all that stuff. Because I was signed to Sony when I was 18, and just like the trauma, unlike you, going through COVID, when I got signed to Sony, the record industry collapsed 6 months later. So like
Because of Napster and all that.
yeah, and it happened right when I
Wow.
was getting. So it was like I got signed, and it felt like it's like God was like coming, and it's all happening finally, and I was being discovered, and da da da, and they drove me around in limos and threw all this money at me and recorded my record and da da da, and then it just went absolutely nowhere. And I took that to mean that I wasn't talented enough for that. Like, because I was like, how come Bruce Springsteen got to like record his record and then it changed all of our lives? Like, my mission and vision was to change people's lives with music. And so then when I didn't get to do that, it was my broken heart that really gave me doubt. And at the end of the day, what I want to share, because I no longer feel this way today, is you cannot let your broken heart be facts that seed doubt. Your broken heart needs to be just a piece. It's just an ingredient in you putting forth that music or that practice. It's something you are here to share love. You need to be doubt free. It needs to be like, I am doing this. I'm not doing this to prove anything. I'm not doing this to feel a certain way. I don't need anything to happen other than me being doubt free and creating it now. And if you
Yeah.
do it and you just show up and you're like, you need to live from the future too, right? Like, you need to have already succeeded, see the rooms filled with people, see the people experiencing your practice now. And as soon as you embody that, you already feel the results. And that's how I felt. When I showed up and there was 4 people, I was like, this is some lame ass results. Like, I was like looking at the facts, but I was living in this altered state. And it
Yeah.
was weird because when you're in that altered state, magic starts to happen outside. He was like, then it was 12 people. Then it was 32 people. And I remember my friend looking at me when it was 32 people, and she's like, this is different. And literally within 2 months, it went to 200 people. Like it
Wow.
was like boom, 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 but it's the quantum. You must be in a state, of definiteness for
Mm.
it to follow. It's going to follow you. It cannot give you anything that you don't believe. It literally is just mirroring back to you what you truly, truly remember.
Wow. That is so good. Thank you so much.
Thank you so
Biet,
much for talking with us, and nice to meet you again.
Fiona, you are so lucky. I just want to say that right now that you got to just spend this hour listening to Biet. We're both so lucky, but like but I just feel like it's cool, you know?
I'm so lucky. You two are very special. I am not,
Mm.
my job on this planet is that I reflect back to people who they are. Someone once said, seeing yourself is like catnip, right? So like I have a gift. I see people. I love people in a way that is unusual. And so my belief is the reason you enjoy spending time with me is because you truly get to be with yourself for that time.
Mm.
So let's do more of this. I love seeing you. I want to see you rise. I want to see you shine. I'm excited to see where both of your journeys end up. I'd love to see you when I'm in New York. I just love you both so much.
Yes, I would love it. Thank you so
Yes.
much for your time.
Bye.
Bye.